Hi, I'm Sonia from Mortal Kombat. I just wanted to warn you, in this week's podcast, there might be some scenes that might disturb you. But I'd still like you to watch the whole thing. I do hope you make it to the end. If you do, I'll show you my finishing move.
Don't defend it. You're giving people might be going out and buying old consoles and cartridges to try and play it with that kind of description.
But people did.
It's rubbish.
It's a system seller. It's a really good game, Chris. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Absolutely.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Spectrum Days, where some middle-aged men talk about games and potentially movies and videos. But we keep saying that. We've never looked at one yet. This is the podcast where we try and remember stuff from the past, and then maybe, just maybe, we have a go at playing whatever game it is that we're talking about and see if it lives up to our terrible expectations. And I'm quite sure this one is going to live up to our terrible expectations because all our expectations are fairly low.
Oh, gosh. Well, Mortal Kombat.
Let's talk about Mortal Kombat. That's all I remember.
Is that the what was the rave track? What was it called? The trance tape. Yeah. What happened about that?
Monday, wasn't it? Mortal Monday. Do you remember Mortal Monday?
You had that on tape
around the world, like Sonic Tuesday. There was Mortal Monday when it all sort of came out on a Monday. We've all come out on a Monday, don't we? What are you tapping at? You tapping at what are you checking so that we remain factually correct in this factually correct podcast?
I wanted to see about that big tune about the song.
If you press Shazam now, and I do that, it'll bound to come up.
Now you've broken all the copyright rules. And
other music
bring it down off YouTube.
Softwares are available, not just.
So take us back to 1992, when I believe Mortal Kombat. Well, yeah,
that's not going to work for me because do you know what? I don't think I ever saw it in the arcade.
I think I did.
What?
I think I can remember seeing it in the arcade. I think I may have played it in the arcade.
No.
Well, I would have played it, I'm sure, is the Amiga. I must have played it because I played everything on the Amiga, and that wouldn't have been until 1994. And I'm guessing that you were playing it on a console, 1993. It was out on the...
It was October 93, I think, on the SNES.
Yeah.
That's over here. I think September over in US of A. And October in the UK, which actually wasn't bad for back then. A month later, that was pretty good going.
That's pretty good going. Do you think we need to explain what Mortal Kombat is to anyone?
Mortal Kombat fighting game.
Fighting game. Very, very famous for its finishing moves. Right? Yeah. So it was very famous.
Get over here.
So, we've only just played Street Fighter 2, which is and was a fantastic fighting game. And,
we ended up liking that one, didn't we?
Yeah, we ended up liking that one. Playing it now, 30 odd years later, and we still enjoyed it. That was good. But my memories, I've not really, maybe we're a bit contrarian because I think it was very popular because of the violence, because of the blood, because of the gore, and there was a lot of advertising going on. And everyone was like, yeah, I want to get that. But I got a feeling I just didn't think it was very good.
Yeah.
Even back then, because the whole the art concept as well of digitizing actors instead of having... instead of having artwork, it's artwork, but it was digitized photos for each frame of animation, right? So you were kind of controlling what should be more realistic, but as we all know nowadays, with what was termed the uncanny valley, that kind of thing where it's not quite right, so your brain rejects it. It's better to make it completely cartoony, so that your brain doesn't really reject it. And personally, I kind of felt like I rejected this game. I wasn't excited by the the gore and.
Hello, boys and girls. It's your Uncle Clivey Wivey here. I agree with Chris. This is a grave and serious situation. You should not be playing this sort of game. It's not for the sensitive types like Chris. I'm sure he's been disturbed by all the blood and the gore. I don't know why the lads at Spectrum Days started reviewing these AHKKKK games. They should have stuck to ZX Spectrum games. I mean, you wouldn't find more Mortal Kombat on the ZX Spectrum, would you? Although there is some unfinished version doing the rounds on the internet. But you shouldn't look at the internet. I did once. Turned me grey.
And stuff. I just wanted a good fighting game. And for a good fighting game at the time, I'm guessing off the top of my mind, it's IK Plus, on the Amiga would have probably more of a fluid fighting game, which I would have enjoyed more than this.
Oh, get a room, you and your Amiga. It was sort of all show, wasn't it? It looked great. It did look good. The graphics did look like a step up, but it was in that sort of. Was it Pit Fighter? Was the other one where they did, which I think was much earlier. I think. Remember Pit Fighter, the arcade game, which was again they digitized real looking characters, and it had the same problem as you say, that there just wasn't the horsepower behind it to make it quite as fluid a game.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I'm looking at Pit Fighter. Yeah,
you remember that one?
Yeah, now I do. So now, as soon as I've seen it, so without Pit Fighter, there would be no Mortal Kombat, I suppose.
Well, I mean, who knows? But it certainly was the first game that got provenance. I think it was famous for doing that type of animation, type of graphical, looking like real people. And don't forget, I mean, back then, I suppose similar to now, people were keen on perceived improvements in graphics. It often did sell games. If the game looked amazing, you could sell it.
Yeah.
I mean, it went. I mean, it's going full tilt with that. You ended up with the robot game that was a fighting game. Was it Rise of the Robots?
Yes, which also had a very kind of 90s advertising campaign.
Oh, right? It was advertised up the you know what. It was terrible. It was everywhere. They milked that so much that by the time it came out, the game seemed even worse. The game was terrible anyway, but it seemed even worse. But I'd hate to suggest that Mortal Kombat is anything like Rise of the Robots. It's not. Mortal Kombat is still a good one-on-one fighting game. It's not one that I liked. I didn't. Yeah. It wasn't the one that I rushed out and bought. It wasn't the one that I remember playing. But everywhere I went, and this is right slap bang in the middle of really that real war, the Sega Nintendo war, when I was right in the middle of the period of when I was selling all this stuff, and everyone was getting into gaming. Late '93, you got Christmas coming up. By that time, everyone had probably a 16-bit console or two. By then, a lot of people had both, but you still had the Sega people and the Nintendo people. And it was massive. Every house party I went to, every after party after going out, that is what people were playing. And that's why I was just doing the impressions of the voices, because that's all you heard around people's houses. Up until that point, it was Choryukin and Hadouken. But when Mortal Kombat came out, everyone bought it. Everyone was playing it, and I think a lot of it was to do with the gore and the finishing moves and things, which were pretty violent even back then.
I mean, I'm saying it now, but if we rewind back, what did we say,
Well, it is 30 years
93?
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is
So
30 years
then
ago.
in my teens, maybe I was, impressed by it, and it was something different because I guess we'd never seen anything as violent looking,
Nowhere near.
anything with the blood and really gory finishing moves, people's skeletons being ripped out of their bodies and things like that. I can't remember any of the other finishing moves.
Was a pit fatality where you push them off a pit and you land on spikes?
Yeah, there's a pit.
And wasn't there, I don't know, I mean, again, this is another one like Street Fighter 2 where they had various iterations of it, and there babality where you could turn the opponent into a baby.
Really?
I think it was babality.
You made that.
Google it. Mortal Kombat babality. Google it.
I'm not looking.
Our producer John, will check that now. Babality. I'm sure there was a babality. And friendship. You could do a friendship move, which might have been the Super Nintendo version or something. Friendship. And you give
the Super Nintendo version didn't have blood, right?
No, it had sweat.
Okay, and I guess and was it banned even in Germany? I'm not sure. I mean, Germany,
countries, I think there was.
You could never normally you can't have, or you couldn't in the past at least, have red blood in Germany. Often it would have to be changed to green or
John
blue.
Just got back with the results. Yes,
babality.
And you just heard John for the first time ever there, just to prove that he's actually real. It's not
babality.
Made up. Babality,
so what happened in the babality?
It turns the opponent into a baby. I know, it's a bit weird, but it's a bit weird.
I mean, I think the game has since its initial version, because there's been a lot of versions, and one of the reasons we're kind of focused in on this one is because there is a new version out right now, which is being put through the ringer, the Switch version anyway, the Nintendo Switch version. You've seen those videos. Everyone's comparing the PlayStation 5 versus Switch, and the Switch is just awful.
It is pretty hilarious.
Yeah,
kill me, for God's sake, finish me.
Yeah, the eyeballs are shooting out and stuff. It just looks really pretty poor on the Switch. So they have released. There's been a lot of games. I don't think we're going to go through them all, but there's a lot. We're focusing on the very first one, back in 92, 93, that one. But I think retrospectively, it has been criticised for sexism, racism. The needless gore. It's received a lot of criticism, and in fact, I think what it seems to be that it was one of the games that really did kick off the whole ratings for games as well. Right up until that point, I don't think there was a rating system, and so it says that people say that it helped pave the way for the Entertainment Software Rating Board in the US. And then even in the UK, I noticed that it said that on April 22nd, 2003, Britain's Advertising Standards Authority took the then unprecedented step of condemning the poster campaign promoting Mortal Kombat. So that was one of the later versions as well, got a lot of criticism. So it's always, I guess they'll be on the whole, anyone talking about something, the marketing, they were just trying to make, even the scandal was good for their final numbers, I suppose they would say. But yeah, so it's been a very controversial game. I don't know if it will be as good as Where the Exploding Fist on the Spectrum or Street Fighter 2 that we played a few weeks ago. So I kind of, it'll be curious. I'm curious. I'm not saying that I'm excited to play this one, more than anything curious. Maybe if I did play a lot of it on the Amiga, it would have been a problem because you've only got the one fire button. So if I didn't play it in console, where the console's got more buttons, that's another reason maybe that I can't remember enjoying it.
I don't remember whether Mortal Kombat took full advantage of like all the. I mean, where I played it would have been on the Super Nintendo. I'm just trying to think whether it was as in inverted commas complex as Street Fighter 2, where you had obviously Street Fighter 2 was small punch,
Well,
medium punch, large punch, and then kick the same. So you had 6 different types of punches and kicks. I can't remember whether Mortal Kombat had that same full range. I know it had a lot of special moves.
yeah, I bet I didn't know any of the special moves.
Because there was sort of things like, there was like an invisibility one where you could sort of peer behind your opponent, wasn't there? And there was the guy, was it Raiden or something? There was a guy that was electrical and could go all electric, and there was
that was that.
Sub-Zero,
that reminded.
you could freeze your opponent. Can you sort of shoot out sort of ice balls or something?
And when I think about Mortal Kombat, it automatically makes me think of Big Trouble in Little China, the film.
Yeah,
Probably because of that character.
I'm sure that character was copied from that. Oh, it has to be. I'd be amazed if it wasn't. Same hat, same outfit, same ability, electrical ability, same everything, isn't it? I mean, it is the character. Probably find out it's the same guy, same actor playing him in the game. Oh, and Sonya. Sonya was that the lady character in it? Was it Sonya? And I can't remember whether was she the only girl in it. I can't remember now. I mean, my abiding memory of it is being round at people's houses after going out. And back in the 90s, it was a very specific type of going out, where the kind of going out where you didn't get back till 4 a.m. and you were still quite awake. And you'd be having to listen to people play Mortal Kombat for then 6 hours till I then had to go to work and sell the same damn thing. So I was just a bit sick of Mortal Kombat.
Well, actually, there's a point where, we were 18. So actually, maybe that's why I was never really, at that moment, I wasn't playing too many games at that time. Yeah, maybe that's why maybe a little bit younger people would have been a bit more impressed with the whole gore. Maybe we were beyond it.
Yeah,
maybe we were beyond
it.
it.
12-year-olds. Yeah, imagine a 10, 11, 12-year-old must be going, wow, you played Mortal Kombat. And there was a cheat code, wasn't there, to get the blood on the Mega Drive. I don't think, did the Mega Drive have the blood out of the box? Wasn't it my memory saying to me that you had to put in a code to get the blood? Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Someone can let us know in the comments on that one. But I got a funny feeling it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. But the Super Nintendo was sweat or something. Grey. I think it was grey.
Yeah. So that must have been it. That it was just that age. I think we just missed then You're right. The 12, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds may have been loving the edginess of Mortal Kombat, whilst we were kind of like,
we weren't kids by then.
Cooler than that,
yeah.
Playing Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, perhaps you probably.
Was that out?
Well, I was just going to say, mate, we've mentioned this before, photo evidence of that summer of '93. Yes.
You're right.
Mario Kart. We've got that photo of all of us playing it. Yeah. So Mortal Kombat would only come out 2 months after that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'd rather play Mario Kart.
Well, yeah, that's what we were playing. As far as multiplayer, yeah, if people came round, I'd have put on Mario Kart.
Yeah.
As is evidenced by what we were doing that summer of '93.
Yeah, Mario Kart.
'93.
Or Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
I would have reached for Street Fighter over this. I don't know. Maybe there's some people screaming at their phones or digital device listening to us saying, no, Mortal Kombat was much better. But
well, I'm sure they are, because here we are, as we've just mentioned, there's a new iteration of it out.
Yeah, true.
There's been Mortal Kombat. How many versions of it? I think it's on the Wikipedia thing, wasn't it? There's got 1 million different versions of it. I'll tell you what did blow my mind when I was looking at the list of platforms that it came out on. Here we are. This is a good one. Amiga, Android, Arcade, Dreamcast, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, GameCube, Game Gear, Game.com, iOS, Windows, Master System, MS-DOS, Nintendo 64, Nintendo DS, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 2, 3, 4, and 5, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation Vita, the R-Zone. The R-Zone, I mean, nothing came out on the R-Zone, and YouTube, but you don't even know what that is, but I do. The R-Zone, amazingly. The 32X, again, nothing came out on the 32X. Sega CD, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, Super NES, Stadia, the Stadia
Stadia.
TV
Well, yeah,
game.
because that's just cloud gaming.
Well, I know. I don't know, but it's on the list here. Wii. It came out on the Nintendo Wii, Xbox,
Really?
Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. It's come out. It's the most ubiquitous thing I've ever heard of. The only things it didn't really come out on, although somebody may have made a homebrew version of it, is the original 8-bit home computers like the Commodore 64 and the Speccy. We'll have to see if there is a version of it. But I mean, that's amazing. I mean, it's super, super, super successful. Amazing.
We'll give it a go. Maybe it's much better than we remember it.
Yeah. Where are you going to play it? SNES
At home, probably.
Oh, that's why we brought him here, folks, for the one-liners. I hope you're enjoying them. He's here all week.
Mega Drive.
Oh, you're going to do Sega,
probably.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll play it on the SNES then.
Yeah, but it's funny because my memories, and we all know what my memory's like now. But it was kind of one of those games that I thought never really came out on the Nintendo. It's not a Nintendo-esque game, is it? Like Nintendo's been pretty careful to look after their, what's available, their catalog, right? It is not known as a violent platform, right? So I'm sort of surprised that it did come out, and it looks like they shouldn't have bothered with the latest version for the Nintendo Switch as well, right? Exactly. They shouldn't have allowed it. I'm surprised that passed. I'm surprised that passed their QA kind of licensing system, because it does look pretty bad.
Yeah,
on the Switch. But okay. So let's go and play it and tell everyone how much we loved it.
Yeah, well, we're going to take a pause now, folks. We'll go off and play it. It'll be a few days for us, but a few mere seconds for you if you're listening to us on the podcast or on YouTube. You can press pause, go and play the game, and then unpause and join us and see whether you agree with our thoughts. And no doubt Chris will complain, as usual, that there's too many buttons, there's no tutorial. He doesn't know how to play it, and he probably wasn't playing it on the Sega at all. He's probably playing the Super Nintendo version because he's an idiot. And we're back. Oh, dear. Welcome back, everybody. That was a nice pause, wasn't it? Only a few seconds for you, but days of fun and excitement playing Mortal Kombat on pretty much everything that we could find it on. If you did pause and play along, let us know below what you thought about it. If you didn't, you can always press pause now and go and play it and come back, but I don't actually advise it particularly. Chris,
what did you
do let me know everything that you thought about playing Mortal Kombat 30 years later.
What a load of rubbish. So in the first half, we were like trying to remember playing it, and we kind of had this vague thought that we somehow rejected it. We were perhaps indier than thou. Like, it was too mainstream. Everyone was loving it because of all the blood and the gore, and we were playing probably Street Fighter 2. But I think we were right back then if we ignored this game, because it is absolutely atrocious. I just don't like it at all. It's just like, what a gimmick. But actually, play-wise, it's just terrible. Why would you buy it? Imagine receiving this game as a gift or something when you could have had Street Fighter 2. I mean, Street Fighter or Internet IK Plus on the Amiga or something, or even Way of the Exploding Fist is more fun than this. At least Way of the Exploding Fist is just sort of time. Oh, come on. This is just so bad. I mean, maybe it's because we played Street Fighter recently, but it is just diabolical.
I was going to say that it's a little unfortunate. I think the order in which we reviewed these games, we were kind of spoilt in playing Street Fighter 2,
But they,
reviewing Street Fighter 2, and then doing Mortal Kombat. I think it's kind of spoiled it a little bit.
well, come on.
In defense of Mortal Kombat, just to give it that glimmer of hope to keep some of our subscribers on side. If I can just say some of the positives about Mortal Kombat before we tear it a new one.
Yeah.
Because the finishing move we use for terrible games we don't like is that it looks nice on the Super Nintendo. I do think the digitized characters, whatever it's called, do look quite nice. The backgrounds look really nice. I did just quickly play the Mega Drive version. It looks terrible in comparison. It really does look bad in comparison. And the sound is bad in comparison. Yeah. The Mega Drive owners did get a bit stiffed. But, of course, they did get the blood, which the Super Nintendo one didn't get, which I think we talked about at the beginning.
Who cares?
So what?
Who cares?
It doesn't really matter.
What a rubbish gimmick.
But again, in defense of this game, that Mega Drive version does play slightly better.
Don't defend it. People might be going out and buying old consoles and cartridges to try and play it with that kind of description.
But people did.
It's rubbish.
It's a system seller. It's a really good game, Chris. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Absolutely tossed. And the thing is, and I feel bad. It's like we've clearly done this episode for like clickbait because there's a new Mortal Kombat game, and we've just sold out over this piece of. We could have been doing a Spectrum game like we want to do. Just a few, handful of listeners, and you wanted to go for thousands by get on the bandwagon. And this is absolute tripe. I'm glad I never played it back in the day.
I can't. There's something wrong with you today, Chris. I can't. Why you suddenly start ranting?
I always rant when we play a terrible game. We could have been playing a Spectrum game.
Did you try and play it on the Spectrum?
Well, I did try, but I couldn't. So we didn't. I don't think we mentioned it in the first part, but there is a fan-made version of this on the Spectrum because it was like I think released in 1997,
97 or something. Yeah.
Some talented coder, bedroom coder, I think they just did it as a piece of fan work. Yeah. Why choose that though? Could have chose any other game. I mean, it was, I guess, a technological feat doing it. But I mean, why choose this game?
Yeah, I tried getting it to run, but couldn't get it to work. But I'm not that disappointed that I couldn't get it to work.
No, nor am I.
I think just to be on the positive, because we are going to be quite negative about this. Neither of us particularly enjoy playing it. It's true. Well, you said it in the first half, and do you know what? It was very, very nostalgic turning this game on and hearing it and playing it, because I genuinely have not played this since back in the day, and genuinely it was a game that was played a lot.
Why would you play it again? Yeah, I mean, by who? We weren't playing it.
Friends of mine. When I think I mentioned it first. So it was the soundtrack to the 90s. It was that get over here. You heard it in a lot of houses and parties and places true. I went to. It was a game. It's one of the biggest franchises. It's a massive money spinner. I mean, that's why there is a game out now, which is now called Mortal Kombat 1.
Exactly.
Why the hell do they do that? And it did have the digitized. It was all about the look and the blood, and that's why people played it. But playing it now, I did think, that sound, the how it looked. It did take me back to places I'd forgotten about and people's houses I'd forgotten about who had it. But the moment I started playing it, it's just there's no finesse. It's dull. I struggled to get the footage. If you're watching our YouTube channel, you're watching me play it terribly and probably no better than or worse than back in the day, because I just didn't play it because I didn't particularly like it back in the day. I struggled to play it long enough to get enough footage. So we're going to have to stop talking now because I've run out of footage. So that was it. We don't like it. Thanks for watching. And that's it.
Bye.
But I did play it on the Master System, the NES, Super Nintendo, Mega Drive. What else did I play it on? Tried to get it to work on. Oh yeah, you tried it on the Game Gear. Oh, the arcade. I did play the arcade. Did you play the original arcade?
No. Tell me it's much better than these console versions.
These, well, looks and sound and, basically the SNES version is very close to the arcade. But I will admit, and I've heard other people say it, the Mega Drive has a better response to buttons. There's quite a big delay in the Super Nintendo version. The Mega Drive is ever so slightly better in response to the button presses.
But I know we're not. You can't compare games from 30 years ago to now. But
well, that's what we're doing. That's the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. But if you compare it, what I was going to say is if you compare it straight up with Street Fighter 2, which came out, I think even before this.
Before
it. One's a real game. One's got. I mean, it's just one plays like properly. This just doesn't. It's just so boring, and it's like you say, it's got no finesse to it. I guess
the other famous game at the time that did this type of graphics was I forget what it's called, the robot one, wasn't it? It was all robots fighting.
You mentioned this in the first episode too. Rise of the Robots.
Rise of the Robots, well remembered. Thank you. And it sort of suffers from the same problem, nowhere near as bad. And giving Mortal Kombat its due, it improved. It did continue to improve as a fighting franchise, which is why there's a new one out now. But they didn't stick with the digitized graphics beyond, I think, the first handful.
Oh, really?
The most of the games now, or they might still be doing motion capture to get the animations of the people, maybe, but they aren't that sort of real looking graphics. They aren't. It's not like that now.
I mean, they say when you read around, it's like, oh, we weren't even trying to compete with Street Fighter or something like that. It's like, come on, this is obviously I mean, standing on the shoulders of giants or whatever, but you're meant to learn from the shoulders of the giants and make a good game. It's just not got. I mean, it even has got tests of strength between. So you defeat like 3 characters or whatever, and then you got a test of strength where you got to bash the buttons to break some bricks and stuff. Yeah. So there's got that. I mean, Street Fighter's even got that as well. You smash the car. Well, in here you smash the bricks or whatever, and it's kind of like it's so close. And they thought, oh, but we'll make it look more realistic by having the digitized characters, the animation and stuff. It just doesn't. Just for me, at least, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't.
I can't believe I'm the one that's having to be the yin, calming yin to a raging yang, and actually trying to give some balance to this podcast and defend it. But it did do what it set out to do. It did set out and to create a fighting game with the digitized graphics. And it's, I say it again, it's not like it failed miserably like Rise of the Robots. It does play a good fighting game. It's still a game that you can play 2-player as a fighting game, because I witnessed it. We don't like it. We don't like it. We admit we don't like it, but lots of people did, and lots of people did play it back then. It wasn't a flash in the pan like Rise of the Robots. We didn't see hundreds of iterations of Rise of the Robots and a new one coming out. Rise of the Robots 1 coming out next week. You know what I mean? But Mortal Kombat did. So I have to respect it for that. It did learn from its mistakes. It didn't continue to do the same rubbish time and time again.
Of course, respect to people who do like it and did like it.
Yeah. But no, I agree. I find it's boring. I genuinely didn't want to record any more footage, like I just said. I just found and this is one of the few games that we talked about. We've almost coming up to our year anniversary. We've reviewed quite a lot of games now. This is one of the few where I genuinely don't care if I never ever play it ever again.
Yeah, agreed.
I really couldn't care less if I never play it ever again.
Yeah, much worse than Altered Beast.
I would happily play Altered Beast again.
Those are big words.
Yeah.
By the way, we just so you
within
know,
the next 30 years.
we never released the Altered Beast.
No, and I've been merrily
episode.
telling people that they should watch it because I thought that we did. Isn't that terrible?
Well,
I'm sorry
we
if you're
need to-
listening and thinking, he told me that was out and to listen to it. Did I like it?
Yeah, I think it just
Public
like,
apology there, everybody.
yeah,
Sorry.
we do need to cover Altered Beast one day because that was a great game with a fantastic shin kick.
Can we give it a year or two?
Right,
yeah,
so
and just to say, admiration to the Master System and Game Gear and NES for giving it a go. Again, if you're watching the YouTube, I'll show the footage of those particular titles. Well done for them having a go. What is nowadays like trying to fit a AAA game onto the Wii U. So there we are, a bit of a short one this time today, folks, but I think that's because, it's just not our cup of tea. Did you lot like it out there in YouTube land? Are we talking rubbish? Is it your favourite game back in the day and you've bought every single one since? Do let us know. If we haven't put you off by rubbishing your favourite game, please do like and subscribe. Check us out over on the podcast if you'd rather just listen to us instead of seeing all the silliness that happens over here. And what are we doing next time? Do we even know what we're looking at next time?
Spectrum game, I hope.
A Spectrum game. Wasn't it Chaos? Are we looking at Chaos?
Might be. I think so.
All right, well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you again.
Thanks, Ed. Bye.
Finish him.